After Patsy placed the phone down, panic had already taken over the house. John Ramsey began checking rooms again, calling JonBenét's name, moving quickly from hallway to hallway. But something was wrong. The ransom note said JonBenét had been taken, yet there were no signs of forced entry, no broken windows, no kicked-in doors, no disturbance that clearly showed someone had entered from outside. Police arrived within minutes. Officer Rick French was among the first to enter the Ramsey home. He began a quick walkthrough, standard procedure for a possible kidnapping. Every room was checked, every hallway scanned. When he reached the basement, he noticed a small room often referred to as a wine cellar. He opened the door briefly. It was dark, quiet, nothing obvious. He closed it and moved on. At that moment, no one realized JonBenét was inside. The ransom note. The ransom letter quickly became the center of attention. It was unusually long, over 2 pages. Most ransom notes are short, direct, demanding. This one was different. It included detailed instructions, specific warnings, and a very precise demand: $118,000. The exact amount of John Ramsey's recent work bonus. That detail immediately raised questions. How would a stranger know that? The note also referenced movies, used dramatic language, and shifted tone multiple times, at moments sounding threatening, at others strangely rehearsed. Investigators began to suspect the writer may have spent time inside the house and possibly written the note there. A house full of people. As the morning went on, friends began arriving. The Ramseys had called several close contacts for support. Soon, the home was filled with people, friends comforting Patsy, others praying, some moving between rooms. In kidnapping cases, this can be dangerous. It contaminates potential evidence, footprints, fibers, fingerprints. But at the time, the focus wasn't forensic. It was finding JonBenét. Police believed she had been taken. The ransom note had set the direction of the investigation. Everything pointed outward. An intruder, a kidnapper, someone who had escaped. Hours pass. The ransom note instructed the family to wait for a phone call. The time window came and went. No call ever came. By afternoon, tension inside the house had shifted. Detectives were uneasy. Nothing about the situation was unfolding like a normal kidnapping. And then a decision was made. Detective Linda Arndt asked John Ramsey and a family friend to search the house again, top to bottom, looking for anything unusual, anything out of place, anything that might have been missed. John headed toward the basement. The discovery. This time, when John approached the small cellar room, he didn't just glance. He opened the door fully. And inside, he saw her. JonBenét was lying on the floor, her wrists bound, a cord around her neck, a blanket partially covering her body. John picked her up and carried her upstairs. In that moment, the case changed forever. This was no longer a kidnapping. It was a homicide investigation. The crime scene collapses. The moment JonBenét's body was moved, the scene was compromised. Critical forensic evidence may have been lost. Fibers transferred, positions altered, possible fingerprints disturbed. But John wasn't thinking as a suspect. He was a father, carrying his daughter. Police quickly cleared the living room and secured the area. Paramedics arrived, but it was too late. JonBenét Ramsey had been dead for hours, possibly since the night before. Autopsy findings. The autopsy revealed devastating details. JonBenét had suffered a severe blow to the head, a fracture that extended across her skull. She had also been strangled with a cord tightened using a broken paintbrush handle, forming what investigators described as a garrote. Evidence suggested both injuries played a role in her death, but which came first remained unclear. The timeline became one of the most debated aspects of the entire case. Investigators had to determine, was this a planned attack, a kidnapping gone wrong, or something far more complicated? Intruder or inside job? From the beginning, the case split into 2 major theories. Theory 1, an intruder entered the home. Someone obsessed, someone watching, someone who knew the family. Supporters pointed to a basement window, possible unidentified DNA, the ransom note demanding money. Theory 2, someone inside the house was responsible, the note written inside, no forced entry, the oddly specific ransom amount. And the timing. Christmas night, a quiet home, everyone asleep, no witnesses. Both theories had flaws, both had supporters, and both would divide investigators for decades. National obsession. Within days, the story exploded across national media. A beautiful 6-year-old pageant child, a wealthy family, a mysterious ransom note, a murder inside a locked home. America couldn't look away. Television networks ran constant coverage. Speculation spread quickly, and public opinion began forming long before evidence was fully processed. The Ramseys were no longer just grieving parents. They were under a microscope. Every interview analyzed, every word examined, every emotion questioned. The interrogations, police wanted formal interviews, but the Ramseys waited. They hired attorneys, public relations advisors. They avoided extended police questioning for months. To investigators, this raised red flags. To the Ramseys, it was protection. They believed they were being treated like suspects instead of victims. Tension between law enforcement and the family grew, and cooperation began breaking down. The brother attention also turned toward JonBenét's older brother Burke. He was in the home that night, 9 years old. Initially, he said he slept through everything. Investigators questioned whether he might have heard something, seen something, or accidentally been involved in an incident that escalated, but no direct evidence ever proved Burke's involvement. Years later, public speculation would resurface, especially after televised interviews reignited theories. Still, legally, no charges were ever brought against him. DNA and unsolved questions. Over time, DNA evidence became a major focus. Unidentified male DNA was reportedly found on JonBenét's clothing. Supporters of the intruder theory point to this as proof someone else was present. Skeptics argue it could be transferred DNA from manufacturing or prior contact. The debate continues to this day. No definitive match has ever been publicly confirmed. The grand jury. In 1999, a grand jury reviewed the case. After months of testimony, they voted to indict John and Patsy Ramsey on charges related to child endangerment. But the district attorney declined to prosecute, saying there wasn't enough evidence to secure a conviction. The decision left the case in limbo. No trial, no closure, no confirmed suspect. Years later, Patsy Ramsey died in 2006 after battling cancer, maintaining her innocence until the end. John Ramsey has continued to speak publicly about the case, advocating for renewed investigation, new DNA testing, new technology, new leads, but the case remains officially unsolved. The lasting impact. JonBenét Ramsey would have been an adult today, a life that never had the chance to unfold. Her story reshaped how America viewed child safety, media coverage, police investigations, and the dangers of rushing to conclusions. It also remains one of the most haunting mysteries in true crime history, because despite decades of investigation, one question still lingers. What really happened inside that house on Christmas night? And who is responsible for the death of JonBenét Ramsey? Darkroom stories. Some cases fade, some are solved, and some stay in the dark forever.